all of the new pets inside of the Grow A Garden update. So obviously, Grow A Garden finally just released the friendship update, and this is a very good update. I will not, cap to you, but the main thing to look at is some of these pets are really overpowered, but also kind of suck. And I'll explain what I mean in a second. But starting off, obviously, with in the list, we're gonna have the wasp. So if you go over to this thing, obviously it's from the premium anti-bee egg. Most likely what we're gonna see is this also in rotation with Raphael over here. So show me pet info, most likely at least. Never mind, might just only be viable. Anyway, so this is how the bug egg was initially. That's why I'm saying most likely. We could see it move into rotation with Raphael. Still though, noted it could come into shop and be that rather than just a straight up paid one. So the first thing with the wasp, so every 30 minutes or so, it will pollinate a plant, but it has a second ability, which is every 10 minutes, it will sting a random pet, advancing its ability by a bit over a minute. And stinging it, meaning it'll go over and just like to it, and then that thing will have its ability advanced by like a minute or so, which is good. So if you have a pet that has a lower mutation ability, like the dragonfly, let me find the one I'm using now. The dragonfly, this one's ability is already only around a 4-minute 45, as you see, as a level 41. So what this could mean is it would get stung in the butt at the 10-minute mark, and it would then expel or exceed up to a 3-minute rather than 4. Now, obviously, I probably want to keep that. Literally nothing good, I swear. The next pet is going to be called the Tarantula Hawk. So this one is pretty much a better version of the wasp at a legendary rarity. And every 25 minutes or so, this one is going to apply the pollinated mutation. And it's also going to do every 5 minutes, so it's going to be faster. It's going to sting a random pet, advancing its ability by 82 seconds. Now, if this gets up high enough, it's about a minute and a half at maybe max level, who knows, but still though, regardless, really overpowered. The next one is going to be the moth. So the moth, every about 9 minutes, will restore 100% hunger to the hungriest pet you have by singing to it. So pretty much this is very overpowered, considering if it's every 9 minutes, it takes a lot longer than 9 minutes for a pet to, run out of juice. So this effectively means it's going to infinitely fill up all your pets with hunger, infinitely feeding them. So you don't have to feed, big high value plants, rather than you could sell those or, recycle them back over, trade them over here, which I do kind of like. That is a very nice mechanic to have as a pet, and honestly, cool to consider the pet making the other pets better. And the next one is the butterfly. So the butterfly is the one that kind of gets me going, like same way. So this is, think of this like but not in a good way, version of the dragonfly. So as we all know, the dragonfly has the ability to just randomly every 4 or so minutes, it'll just turn some plant you have golden. That is really good. That's not great considering, there's literally like pretty much no downside to that pet. That's what makes it see dragonfly pod variant gold to moon melon. That is a good thing to have, because there's no like I was saying, there's no direct downside to this pet. It just continues to make things golden. So it just continues to make stuff sell for more and have better value, which literally is a very good pet to have. I'm like, that's why people want to trade for it all the time. You also have, the raccoon. But the next thing about this that makes it absurdly overpowered is the way it makes its ability. So about every 30 minutes, it's going to fly to a nearby fruit. So this is a guaranteed ability with over 5 mutations. So what this means is you need a plant, obviously, with more than 5 mutations, which does suck, because for the most part, the ones I only have that are over 5 mutations have a lot of high value ones, like this one, pollinated, shocked, heavenly, honey glazed, and frozen. So it would probably go to something like this, right? And it would delete all those mutations, and it would give it the rainbow mutation. Now, obviously, this is good if you're looking at the fact how you could get a bunch of low value mutations on a plant, and then, like, for example, use some auto AFK system like UG phone. I have a full rundown of that, but that's how I'm leaving this account running nonstop, is I'm using UG phone to leave it running. And so this one, right, only has gold. And if you don't know how the mutation system works, pretty much in whole, the way the mutation system works is, if you want to use my calculator website, I'll probably put this in the description, but this will take, so the base sell value. So as you see, there's multipliers and all that. So if I'm selling, right, a mushroom just at the base, so it is 1x times the 1 plus, right? So it is going to be the 1x base multiplier times the multiplier given from the mutations. That will equal the multiplier that it has on the base value. So its base value is 136,000. So if it has nothing, it has 1x base sell value. And if it has gold, it has 20x, therefore making it 2.7 million by default. Now, that's only if you have gold mutation on this. Now, what this makes the whole world difference is if you have the basic shocked, frozen, pollinated, honey glazed, mutations like this, right? It's going to have 115x and be worth 15 million. But if it's gold, now it's 2300x and it's worth 300 million. You see the difference, right? Super overpowered. Rainbow does this, but better. So if I have rainbow, yeah, now it's worth almost $1 billion. Now, this does bring, as you see, it goes from 2300x on the overall to almost 6,000. So that's why the 50x, so it's 30x more on the base sell value. Super overpowered, but not only does that work, so if you had rainbow, right, they added these mutations back, you could get celestial. The next pet I'll show you in a second allows you to get this mutation. You could have an 18,000x, and say you get this chicken jockey. This basic low sell value, basic, thing is now worth 2.6 billion. Now say it's like a huge chunky heifer, it's almost 2x the size, and you got, full server of friends, you're gonna be selling this thing for almost 12 billion. Now, really overpowered, like super overpowered, but obviously at the downside of removing all the previous mutations to making it better. Now though, if you are wanting this egg, I am giving away this egg pack in a giveaway. To enter, just subscribe and comment your username down below. I'll enter you into the giveaway. Now the next final pet is going to be the Disco Bee. So obviously Disco, the mutation, right? This thing is going to be absurdly rare at a 0.25% chance. So this is going to be the rarest pet you can get in the game, and for a good reason. Every 20 minutes or so, it will apply at a 12% chance the Disco mutation to a crop. Not only is this absurdly overpowered, but this mutation was only previously obtained via the admin exclusive weather event, which now this is just naturally obtainable via a pet, which is absurdly overpowered, especially considering if you are to integrate this into a basic system, you could potentially start, you could farm mutations, get the rainbow one if you have the butterfly, and then stack all these mutations back up on it. What I would obviously recommend is removing the butterfly. But another thing to consider is I do wonder if the only plant you have is that one plant, if it's possible to stack rainbow and gold, because like obviously as you know for the most part, you can't stack these mutations. Like you can only have gold or rainbow because it's a base starter. But I do wonder if the pet, so like say you get, the chance to get rainbow on it, since these pets guarantee putting that mutation on it. So if you force apply rainbow, right, get all the mutations back on it or whatever, and then you have the dragonfly, you could potentially, I think, force apply gold. Therefore, meaning you could come back on over here, right? You could get rainbow shocked, frozen, right? You got these ones, you got this one, you got these ones, right? Celestials back in on a, let's just go with like a mushroom, right? This mushroom's pretty big, right? This mushroom's about, let's just say 40 kg. You also got the friend boost, right? And you have the absurdly overpowered new buff, where this is going to be 50x, is going to be 20 or 70x if you include gold. Now, if this was 20x, as you see on a 20 or a 30x increase, it goes from 7,200 to 18,000. You could see an even bigger exponential jump, therefore making this like the most overpowered strat in the game. Now, if you had every mutation on this plant on top of that and used raccoon farming methods, you would become a trillionaire so fast. It would like be absurd. Anyways, though, enough of my yapping. It's just like, 5 pets. Make sure you join the Discord server and check out that website. And